all I say is, hey, if it's that easy, go, you can do it too, then.
In 2013, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were headlining Coachella. The Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones broke the internet. Apple released the iPhone 5, and Sonny Moore, aka Skrillex, was introducing the masses to dubstep. After his 9th Grammy win this week, it's no surprise that Skrillex is at the top of the EDM game. But it wasn't always that way. In fact, his roots are in another genre entirely. From the raw screams of emo to the bass and beats of dubstep, this is the story of how Sonny Moore became Skrillex and changed the music world forever. Skrillex was born Sonny Moore in 1988. I don't know that there is such a thing as a normal childhood, but if there is, Sonny's childhood was definitely not it. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Moore, were loving and doting. They gave him everything he could ever have hoped for. When he got caught smoking at school, he basically told the teacher to get fucked and walked right out of high school forever. Most parents would be incredibly upset, but not Mr. and Mrs. Moore. Instead, they responded in a supportive way, suggesting that he just be homeschooled instead. So where's the problem, you ask? Well, this type of overwhelming love can be exhausting. Sonny described it this way to Vice. My mom was so loving, but annoyingly over-hospitable. Skrillex later explained, I'll have already eaten like 10 things, and my mom would be like, you want something else? No thanks. Do you want this? No, I don't want anything else. Okay, do you want this other thing then? No, I'm full. Do you want me to go to the store and get this one thing you like? No, no more anything. Now, before you come at me in the comments, I recognize that this doesn't sound like a problem to many of you, and that there are plenty of children out there who have experienced far greater problems than being loved to the point of annoyance. And you're not wrong. But what if the reason for the abundance of love was to mask a darker secret? Perhaps this was a manifestation of guilt that Mrs. Moore felt for not being able to tell Sonny the truth about who he was. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Moore were Scientologists, and according to the book Dianetics, written by their leader, L. Ron Hubbard, Scientologists believe that abortion and attempts at abortion could cause trauma to the fetus and the mother in both spiritual and physical ways. So when a family friend found out that she was pregnant and decided not to keep the baby, the Moores jumped in as adoptive parents. But would they ever tell Sonny the truth? By the time he was a teenager, most everyone except Sonny knew. On a random occasion, he ran into someone who mentioned seeing his mom recently. When Sonny tried to clarify, the name of the woman slipped out, and Sonny quickly corrected the mistake. But the seed was planted, and Sonny couldn't ignore this conversation for long. He confronted his parents, and they came clean about everything. If you remember how 14-year-old Sonny reacted when a teacher told him to stop smoking at school, you can only imagine how he would react to life-changing news like this. He did what any rebellious teenager would do and ran away. He, his suitcase, and his anger made their way to Georgia, where a small-time emo band was playing shows. Emo bands were my absolute jam back in this time frame. I didn't go a single day without listening to bands like Hawthorne Heights, The Used, and Taking Back Sunday. My aggressively parted bangs, held back by a tiny bow, highlighted my dark black eyeliner that was drawn on way too thick. Every t-shirt I owned was black and had some band's logo on it. Below that was a pair of brightly colored low-rise skinny jeans and a dirty pair of black Chuck Taylors. This was the landscape of the emo music scene in the 2010s. For all of you who aren't elder millennials and probably think everything I just said was super cringe, there used to be this site called MySpace, and it was the freaking best. It was the original social media website where we publicly ranked our friends and accidentally learned coding skills to add music and a glitter-looking Bratz doll to our page. My profile song for a very long time was Check Yes Juliet by We the Kings. What was yours? Aside from dorks like me who used MySpace, bands were also using it to release music, post tour dates, and connect with fans. The band From First to Last was no exception. One of the pale, dark-haired, snake-bite-pierced emo kids they connected with was, you guessed it. Sonny's life had been turned upside down at this point. The idea of traveling 2,000 miles to audition for a guitarist spot in a band didn't really seem all that strange. In fact, this ended up being the best thing that could happen to both Sonny and the band. Sonny made such an impression that the band recruited him to be their lead singer. Channeling all of that anger and confusion into his music earned the band coveted spots on music charts, over 200,000 albums sold, and a deal with a major record label. The band toured and recorded for 2 years, putting out music like Note to Self. Who knows what From First to Last would have ever been without Sonny, and who knows what Sonny would have ever been without them. Unfortunately, all that screaming and stage diving took a toll on Sonny's vocal cords. He developed polyps that signed the death warrant for the band, but Sonny wasn't down and out yet. He had surgery to repair his vocal cords, but decided that his time with the band was finished. He joined the band in a bold leap of faith and left the band in the same way. He decided to pursue a solo career that would help him explore and discover his identity through music. But going solo from even a successful band is not easy. So how was Sonny able to keep making music without the rest of the band members? He developed a core audience through From First to Last's music and a massive community on MySpace, which he was able to use to his advantage. Through the platform, he was able to continue to engage with fans and release more music, but this new music from Sonny was very, very different. So different, in fact, that it needed a new name. In 2008, Sonny made a change that would impact the music world forever. Before you Brits get your knickers in a knot, I know dubstep as a genre was nothing new to much of the world, but it wasn't big in America just yet. Dubstep was hugely popular in the UK thanks to names like Fatboy Slim and the Pet Shop Boys. Although Skrillex's style was different, it was the introduction for many Americans into the genre. His debut EP, My Name is Skrillex, in 2010 wasn't particularly well received. Oh my goodness, oh my god, holy shit, this is the worst piece of garbage I've ever heard. This EP starts off with My Name is Skrillex, a completely terrible take on Aphex Twin's and Square Pusher's manic and furious production style. None of the quick edits and chopped up drums make any sense and don't flow together at all, and could maybe classified as harsh noise. All the other tracks are extremely forgettable with stupid, cheap synths popping out of nowhere, one after the other like whack-a-mole. It's just a bad, ADD, obnoxious, in-your-face mess. Free is $10 too expensive for this EP. But others who heard it knew that this Skrillex dude was about to make a mark on the industry. This EP is so fucking fun. Skrillex is fresh off his emo band, just turned 20, is making this weird, new, fresh music people have only just started making, dubstep. People who hate this music have no taste for what's new, have the same taste in music as my dad, Aphex Twin and Tiesto, because they're a million years old. This EP has no point other than Skrillex saying, hey, I'm fucking here now, to every motherfucker on MySpace. Little does he know how big he's going to get. But Skrillex has always been loud and proud in his own skin, and this EP conveys that. This is so loud and upfront, even when the name Skrillex doesn't mean shit. If you don't respect the hell out of Skrillex, you're a loser. Just 3 months later, he released his breakthrough album, Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, which peaked at number 49 on the US Billboard chart and went platinum in 3 countries. In 2011, he dropped Bangarang, and suddenly everyone in the US knew about dubstep and Skrillex. No one could ignore Skrillex's creativity and talent, and anyone who questioned his place in the EDM world was quickly silenced by the album's shattering platinum status in 6 countries. The mainstream success of this album in the States solidified the fact that dubstep had been introduced to the masses, and that we had Skrillex to thank. Plenty of people wouldn't thank Skrillex for this at all, but more on this later. When I first heard Bangarang, I was completely surprised that this sound came from Skrillex because I couldn't stop seeing him as his emo alter ego Sonny. At first, all I could hear were erratic ambulance sounds, and I couldn't stop wondering what the hell does Bangarang even mean. By the way, Bangarang is what the Lost Boys yelled in the 1991 movie Hook. You'll also hear featured rapper Sierra shout out the Lost Boys at the beginning of the track. After a few more listens and a couple of watches of the music video, though, I started to recognize that there was structure in the chaos. Each pew-pew laser was taking the place of a guitar lick, and each drop was reminiscent of the erratic changes in tempo that I was used to with From First to Last. After really listening, I started to understand how we got here. While establishing himself in the scene, he was collaborating with some of the biggest acts in EDM, including Diplo. Back then, that was a much better flex than it is now, but I digress. His collaborations included hip-hop stars like Missy Elliott and XXXTentacion, Japanese musician Yoshiki, and rock gods Bring Me the Horizon. In 2017, Skrillex was everywhere and putting out tons of music. This included a reunion with From First to Last featuring a new song and a live performance at Emo Night in LA. Fast forward to 2023, and Skrillex has just won his 9th Grammy for Rumble with Flodan and Fred Again, who are staples in the EDM scene themselves. Within 2 days of his live show at Madison Square Garden, Skrillex released 2 albums, Don't Get Too Close and Quest for Fire. As if that wasn't enough, he even tweeted a teaser for 2 more albums, Contra and Skrillex, but these have yet to be released. With this much success, it's easy to see how Skrillex has won more Grammys than anyone else in the EDM scene. Skrillex won his first Grammy back in 2012 for Best Electronic Album. The title track also won a Grammy for Best Electronic Recording. That same year, he also won the Grammy for Best Remix Song for his work on Cinema by Benny Benassi. Bangarang swept 3 categories in 2013. His Jack U project with Diplo swept the following year. And although he continued to be nominated, he hadn't won another Grammy until this year. Rumble won the Grammy for Best Electronic Recording, putting Skrillex back on the map with a vengeance. Even the UK dance music purists can't ignore the fact that Skrillex has incorporated more of the traditional UK sound in his recent work. The music video for Rumble is even shot at a live set in London and features Flodan, an East London artist who earned the first ever Grammy for a UK MC on the song. Skrillex is more than just a multi-talented artist, DJ, and producer. He also runs an EDM record label named Owlsla, which is described as a house, trap, dubstep bass label. Through this label, he's developing the next generation of EDM artists, ensuring that his legacy continues long after he retires his decks. Artists currently on the label include What So Not, Troy Boy, Seven Lions, Marshmello, and even his original boys from First to Last. It's also important to remember that this label was created in 2011 when Skrillex was just 23. This serves as yet another testament to his work ethic and dedication to evolving the music scene. But even the Grammy Award-winning Skrillex can't please everybody. While some credit him for introducing dubstep mainstream, others blame him for completely ruining the genre.
This evening is ruined.
As dubstep's popularity grew, it began to encompass new types of fans. This included college party girls who loved to dance, fans of Sonny who hadn't previously listened to EDM but followed from First to Last, and even douchey dudes who just thought the rave scene was a good place to meet girls. I can't say for sure whether Skrillex set out to purposely expand the audience of the EDM genre, but that's exactly what happened. With this influx of new fans, the community changed for the worse, some argue. Tell us below what you think about the current state of the scene. No matter your views on it though, it's undeniable that Skrillex changed the game. He continues to defy genres and expectations, and his sound continues to evolve. I can't help but wonder what will be in the future for Skrillex. What new sounds and stories will he bring to life? One thing is certain though, his journey is far from over, and the world is listening eagerly, awaiting the next chapter in the saga of Sonny Moore. From emo kid to electronic pioneer, Skrillex's journey is a testament to the transformative power of music, driven by passion, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to pushing boundaries. Artists aren't the only ones who push the boundaries of genre. Producers have a huge role in that as well. The king of genre-bending producers is who you can learn about in the next video.